From the center of the universe, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, this is the SDM Show with your host, Rob Cairns. The SDM Show focuses on business, life, productivity, digital marketing, WordPress, and more. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite drink, and enjoy the show. Here is Rob.
Hey everybody, Rob Cairns here. I'm the founder, CEO, and chief technologist at Stunning Digital Marketing. In today's show, I have my good friend, Mr. Laine Naida, with us, and Warren's going to talk about SEO beyond your website. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. The SDM Show is brought to you by Stunning Digital Marketing, the digital marketing concierge that helps you put all your marketing pieces together. We are your marketing experts. We are also your WordPress security experts and know how to lock down a website and protect yourself from bad actors. So contact us at Stunning Digital Marketing today.
Hey there, it's me, it's Warren, and I'm here for another great podcast with Rob Cairns. And welcome. This is the first one of 2026, so kind of a good, important way to start the year. I hope you all had a great 2025. This year's going to be even better. So, for those of you who don't know me, I'm here pretty regularly with Rob and Bridget Willard and all the rest of the team. And my hobby horse is SEO. I live SEO. So this time around, I wanted to talk about SEO beyond our website. So yes, off-page SEO, but we've talked about SEO off-page before. We've talked about AI before. But specifically about I'd like to look at like podcasts and videos, even how newsletters and voice search can help us get found. Okay. SEO is always just about websites. It's kind of like rookie SEO, I think. We got to think really much bigger than pages and keywords and ranking. Search has really moved on. So people can discover us everywhere and anywhere. And I'm also in that, on that side of the fence that thinks that videos or podcasts like this one, I mean, we're watching a podcast is probably as a video. And how people are turning to this medium much more for finding information. So this is a way to be found. Okay, this is this very important discovery phase. And we've said before that websites are that sort of that last click almost. If you're at the website, you're not really discovering. You're probably already made the decisions, or you're finalizing the decisions. So podcasts, videos, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, podcasts are out of this world, are really a good way for people to discover you, to find you. Or they're looking specifically for a problem to be solved, and there you are in a podcast or a video. Voice assistants, yes, AI generated answers, voice assistants, whatever they can find on your website. This is still really important, and I think very much in the embryo phase of SEO. So there's a lot of room for improvement there. And finally, with newsletters, I mean, does anyone think about a newsletter for SEO? If you're sending out newsletters, if you're receiving a newsletter, you're not searching. You've been found. This is your bonus for being a customer or a follower or even a lead that you're getting this newsletter. But newsletters can be found in Google and Bing, and they can be shared. So it's certainly a discovery vehicle, I think. So SEO for a long time, it's really been about off-page. I am a big off-page SEO guy. For me, all SEO is off-page, and I think that's happened a long time ago. So I wanted to look at some of the ways we can optimize our podcasts, our newsletters, our video, even our voice-driven search. So that really gets into our SEO bucket. So, if we think about what SEO actually is, even early last year, we were talking about SXO, search experience optimization. And I think really now, SEO at its core, it's no longer about rankings and traffic or keywords, if it really ever was. I mean, that is something that we can optimize, but I don't think that it was maybe as important as we've made it out to be. SEO basically, I think at its heart, SEO is about structuring information so it can be understood, it can be retrieved, it can be recommended, it can be cited. So yes, there's Google and Bing, but on top of that, especially now, we have podcasts, we have video platforms. We have recommendation engines, we have voice assistants, we have any AI system that's being trained on public content. And so, if we think about these as being systems that take our information, structure it, and retrieve it and recommend it, then I think that we're way beyond Google and Bing. So, if we frame SEO in this definition, then really you have to be omni-channel, because the channel itself becomes quite secondary. The principles are the same, but it's a little bit like Bridget Willett always says, there's social media. Well, social is what's happening on social media. Media is just the platform. And again, the channel is secondary to what's really happening. In social, it's connecting with people. In SEO, it's getting found by people who don't know your name. Okay, I think that's really, really important. So let's take a look at podcast SEO. How does our audio get discovered? Okay, now SEO is words. Okay, now audio itself you can't search, but the text you can. Okay, yet I mean probably soon you'll be searching an audio, but at the moment, today, no. So, podcast platforms, they rely on metadata and contextual signs, just like any other platform. So, they need to decide how to show, who to show what, which episode should they recommend. And so, that's where the podcast discovery really happens. Okay. So, and every platform has its own SEO rules and ways of doing things, just like, Amazon does, or Etsy, or YouTube. So, you've got Apple Podcasts, you've got Spotify, they have their own search. You've got Google and YouTube, you've got the audio indexing there. You've got voice-based queries. Okay, even your television can do this now. Play a podcast by, play a podcast about. And then you've got the AI-powered podcast search tools. Or like right now, you're listening to a podcast, and I don't know where you're listening to it from or watching it, but whatever system it is going to have its own search rules. So I think. When it comes to how we're going to optimize our podcasts for SEO, what sort of SEO assets are there? And I think, from an SEO perspective, there's a lot of components, but probably the most important ones would be, your title and description. Okay, that's not any different than a website. Episode titles, episode descriptions, the notes to your shows. Okay, the transcripts, any external references and links. The audio file is really only part of the equation. Okay, so I think, optimize any of your podcast material in the same way you would a website. All right, very clear and descriptive titles, very intent-focused episode descriptions. Okay. Transcripts aren't a nice to have. I think they're really a foundation. All right. And that also goes for video. Okay. The transcripts are really important. They enable the search engine indexing. They enable AI summaries. They enable they give your podcast an accessibility, which I think is really important. And without those transcripts, you're losing a lot of the eyes that machines have. You don't want your podcast to be blind. So definitely, podcasts, if they've got a clear thematic focus, they send much stronger signals to platforms than if you've got scattered topics. Now, video is very closely related to this, and if you've got a video, if you don't, you need a transcript, you need edited SRT files, you need chapters in the description. Now, that said, video works a little differently than audio, but it faces the same problem. I mean, systems can't watch the videos yet, but they can read the text around them. Okay, so you've got YouTube search, you've got Google video results, social media for videos. I mean, just think about TikTok. Think about Discovery Reels on Instagram. Think about stories, hub content stories for your subscribers. YouTube is probably the second largest search engine after Google. I mean, okay, we could debate this, and Google owns it. It is Google. So, video SEO really is search SEO. And that's something you don't want to forget. There are a lot of ways to to optimize your video for a search. Very similar to podcasts. You've got your video title, you've got description, you've got your tags, captions, subtitles, your thumbnails, okay, chapters, your all of the links where you have timestamps that go right in there. This is a link. You can share this link. This is a searchable link, okay. Again, the video content, just like the podcast content, this matters for retention. But I think the discoverability, the SEO, lies really in the metadata. Yeah. So break your videos into chapters, timestamp them, design your thumbnails for clarity. It's not a drama. You're solving a problem. Really, they're optimized for the watch time. Better a little less than more. It's not just views. And I think this is where TikTok really woke us up to that a little bit like a bumper ad, you can say a lot in 6 seconds. You can sell in 6 seconds. And so you don't need an hour video. You're not Dallas, if that's still relevant to people. So, we've got podcasts, we've got video. Now, the third item, newsletter, this is really always overlooked. I overlook this, all right? But, you usually view email as very private, sort of ephemeral, not really an SEO topic. But it can function as a long-term content asset. Okay, now when newsletter archives are publicly accessible, they become searchable, and they can be used to train any of the data ecosystems that we have, including AI. So, I think at the first step where you notice this is, and I find this strange, but it does make sense. Most people's newsletter sign-up pages are right there indexed in Google and Bing. And one wonders why, but they definitely are discoverable. So if you use this, it becomes a more useful page than all those other pages that you see indexed, imprint, data protection, cookies, a contact form, and you think, why are these even indexed? But a newsletter, this certainly has an opportunity to boost your SEO. Okay, so we can find people's newsletters through the search results. We can definitely find them through brand and author queries, and there's a great number of curated resource lists with best newsletters for this. So over time, if you if you consistently publishing and centering an intent around your newsletter page, this certainly will build an authority in the same way as your blog does. If as long, and I think this is very important, my favorite word, you are not giving the average Joe or Jane the same information in this newsletter that they have searched or discovered that you give the people who have signed up. Okay, don't do that. Okay, just in the same way you wouldn't put the information that's on your newsletter on your website, or the newsletter information on your social media. Why would you do this? Or better question, why should I sign up for your newsletter? So I think you can certainly filter some of the information that is okay for everyone to encourage them to sign up for your newsletter, and at the same time they're going to find you, but don't give away the farm. Okay. To optimize newsletters for search, you should publish any public archives. Let them be crawled. Get them in your LLMS file. Okay. Treat every issue that you handle in your newsletter as a standalone resource. So each edition can focus on a single topic, answer a specific question. Okay. And use the internal linking to link across issues in newsletters so that you have related newsletter editions. This reinforces your topical relevance. And at the same time, it helps the systems understand the relationship. So I think, consistency is better than volume when it comes to newsletter. Steady publication helps your trust signals. And there you definitely can win. Now, I know I teased voice search, but we're out of time. So hey, I'm gonna see you next month, and I'm gonna really drill down on voice search because it's not being used. But hey, over the next month, focus on your podcast SEO, focus on your video SEO, focus on your newsletter SEO. And I'm going to as well because I think that is a great idea. And we all have takeaways. You have a great month. Come on over to Twitter X and see me, say hi, ask questions. Warren L. Naida. And you have a great month. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
This podcast has been brought to you by Stunning Digital Marketing, your digital marketing concierge to help the business owner put all his pieces together, whether it's email marketing, WordPress security, WordPress design and development, PPC, and more. Text Stunning Digital Marketing for all your digital marketing needs today. A very special thank you to Warren, Laine, and Naida for joining me on this edition of the SDM Show. The SDM Show is dedicated to my late father, Bruce Cairns. Dad, I miss you very much every day. My mother, Ann Cairns, who's still doing really well and is an inspiration. And of course, Tiz Maroney. And Tiz, I know I've said it, but thank you so much for all the inspiration you give me every day.